Hey guys, Crypto Sunday and slightly green week. Nothing too much, about 2%, £3,000. It's sort of up and down at the moment, but there's a little bit of news, so let's have a look. So yet another loss for the SEC, it seems. The judge, Annalisa Torres, that sort of voted against the SEC and in favour of Ripple largely in the previous trial, has denied the SEC an appeal. So as soon as this sort of trial, initial trial finished, everyone said the SEC will appeal, and this will sort of go on, and they have tried to do so, and the judge has said basically there weren't substantial grounds for a difference of opinion. They're sort of saying if you think I've applied the rules in the wrong way, or made a mistake in applying the rules, then that could be an appeal. But if you just disagree, then that's not good enough. So yeah, it's been shot down. The motion for certification of an interlocutory appeal is denied, and the SEC's request for a stay is denied as moot, which is sort of legalese for being slapped down, basically. This is far from over, of course. There were still some outstanding matters which are going to trial on April the 23rd next year. And obviously they did say selling XRP, the sort of Ripple selling XRP to institutions was a securities offering itself, even if the token sort of on sale isn't. So yeah, they weren't sort of completely out of the woods, and they've still got to go to trial. But obviously, the crypto industry has sort of taken this as a basically an immediate win ever since the initial trial result, and this just sort of makes you laugh. And even Brad Garlinghouse sort of mocking, basically. So yeah, I'll have to see what comes from the rest of the trial. So this is a very unusual development. The FTX bankruptcy have been sort of sifting through some of the holdings, and they made some, obviously stealing customers' funds to make these investments, but they made some investments on the sort of venture capital side, and one of those was in Anthropic, which is one of OpenAI's primary competitors. And this was sort of pre Chat GPT release. They have their own sort of competitor known as Claude, and so FTX invested $500 million of customer funds into this, but it's now sort of obviously, since the AI hype has blown up, they are now potentially at a 20 or 30 billion dollar valuation, which would put FTX's stake at $3 to $4.5 billion. So if it were to get sort of $4.5 billion, from what I've seen, the hole in the balance sheet essentially could be largely plugged, and holders may actually sort of get 80 to 90% of their holdings back, or the monetary value of their holdings. Obviously, it was a different value potentially than when they went bust in September, depending on what you held. But yeah, there's sort of potential for people to be getting their money back, and this is sort of quite different to the sort of Mt. Gox bankruptcy, of course, because people, you would think, are largely looking to get Bitcoin themselves returned to them. So they have, I think, 140,000 Bitcoin of the 800 odd thousand that was stolen, and they're looking to give that Bitcoin back to people. So the sort of fear is that people would sort of dump that all on the market, being up 20x, 50x, however much they're up. Whereas this, the crypto, it sort of seems is largely gone, all bar sort of some Solana and a small amount of Bitcoin and ETH. But if people get back the monetary value from the sale of this Anthropic capital raise, then people will be getting given back cash, and those were sort of crypto people last year. So yeah, there's potential they may put that back into crypto. So you can actually get a positive from sort of funds being returned to people. Whereas if you get given back crypto, most people just think, well, I'll get out and sort of sell my stake. But yeah, if people get cash, that's pretty good. And this one seemed sort of good for a headline, but maybe not actually the best use of cryptocurrency, at least. Company FCF Pay has partnered with Honda and Mercedes to allow customers to finance, lease, or purchase their vehicles using crypto. And this is with sort of lots of different crypto, Bitcoin sort of being, I would presume, the lead one, but sort of various companies that are pro these other coins are sort of headlining it as you can now pay with Shiba Inu, for example. And the crypto news flash site has sort of gone with XRP, certainly in the title. Not sure people are really going to be buying a car with XRP, let alone sort of Shiba Inu. God knows how much you would need, billions and trillions potentially. But yeah, that's you sort of makes an interesting headline until you read through a little bit more through the detail, and it was saying you have to pay a 2% transaction fee. So if you're buying a Mercedes for, £70,000, then you're looking at sort of £1,400 transaction fee just to buy it. Where so obviously the big draw with crypto is to sort of avoid fees rather than add fees. So your sort of Visa and MasterCard transactions where the merchant or vendor is paying 3 to 4% of their sale to Visa or MasterCard because you're using a credit or debit card. This is now something that would presumably go through ordinarily through bank transfer or some form of sort of payment that doesn't really cause either party a fee other than the banks, or not very much of a fee at least, to changing that to a 2% transaction fee by using crypto. So it's making it worse and is only a benefit if you want to get rid of your crypto, which I would say certainly for even XRP and Bitcoin you can easily do on exchanges and then just buy your car with the cash that you get. So I didn't really see this as I say, good for a headline, but I didn't really see this as a particular positive or sort of a benefit to either party, really. Companies aren't going to, it's not as if Honda and Mercedes are going to keep it. This would be one of those sort of BitPay things where Honda and Mercedes never actually see any of the crypto. It's converted to converted to cash before they even see it. So yeah, I didn't really see this as anything to make sort of too big a deal about, but obviously it makes the headlines. And yeah, of course you do come down to the sort of extreme level here because FCF Pay offer quite a lot of digital currencies, Binance Coin, Polkadot. But you can also even go right the way down to sort of Pepe Coin, Floki Inu, Bone Shiba Swap, and Doge Killer. So you could buy a Mercedes with Doge Killer if there is enough liquidity, which there probably isn't. So yeah, I think this is sort of going to be a great big headline for these smaller coins, but in the grand scheme of things isn't going to mean a lot. So there is starting to be a bit of bearishness on Ethereum in general, sort of not a huge amount of positive news going around, and they released their, or not they released, but there were futures ETFs released in the last week or two, and they've basically been terrible. So the Bitcoin launched a assets under management for the BITO ETF ended up at about 570 million. I think there was sort of $1 billion in volume, and the sort of Ethereum ones in total have ended up with sort of 12, 13 million between the lot of them. So that's not particularly good, not a huge amount of volume either, and yeah, it's been a bit of a sort of a nothing. So that's a bit of a shame. It is sort of futures based, and people probably want a proper spot ETF to buy. There's sort of lots of other places you can either just buy futures or buy Ethereum, and even for institutions, I think it's not all that difficult. So yeah, that's not particularly good news, but I don't think it's all that surprising, especially sort of launching at a time like this. There isn't really a huge amount of interest in sort of crypto at all from institutions, at least on the sort of US side. So yeah, that was a bit of a ding for Ethereum. Certainly fundamental wise, things aren't looking too much better. Ethereum still sort of not being burnt in the way that it used to be, so not a huge amount of sort of use compared to what they used to be. 8,894 net increase in Ethereum in the last week, so up to 245,000, 120 million, 246,000 now. And yeah, on the last sort of 30 days, continues to be a straight line up, 28,000 net change, and it has started to sort of, you can see, properly, tweak up now from what was a sort of a great big fall and then a flat period, and sort of a very slow decline. People sort of thinking, oh well, it's just a bear market, burning will increase. It's now gone into net issuance for quite a while, and this line is sort of beginning to steepen up. So we'll have to see, but yeah, this doesn't look particularly good. And even CoinShares are reporting that Solana has in fact been a little bit better than Ethereum this year. Digital asset fund flows have a $31 million inflow to Ethereum, which is pretty good. It's 27th week of inflows and just 4 weeks of outflows this year. So, and Ethereum saw outflows for a 7th consecutive week, totaling $1.5 million. So it's basically nothing. I do see people sort of highlight these fund flows as sort of a big deal, but it's a tiny amount of sort of overall assets. But it does show you sort of where some institutions are sort of putting their money, and I would say sort of 30 million in Solana is sort of a lot bigger deal than 30 million in Ethereum, considering the sort of market caps. So yeah, I just thought that was an interesting one, a bit nice news for Solana, and sort of seeing a bit more institutional adoption, which you wouldn't really think it would be getting just yet. So portfolio-wise, it's a very mixed bag. Still not made any changes, although I am sort of considering some, which I will come to. But yeah, Bitcoin sort of up 2.7% for the week, and Ethereum down 3.18%. Whether this was sort of partly, bearishness on the new ETFs not sort of getting a lot of traction, but yeah, something's caused it. To be sort of bucking the trend. Normally you'd expect it to be at least keeping pace with Bitcoin, if not outperforming it most of the time, or sort of maybe be flat, but yeah, to be 3% down. Solana was up 9% for the week, so that's sort of my best performer for the week, which I was pretty happy with. Chainlink down 5%, not too good. Cardano completely flat. XRP 0.5% up, and then sort of Power Ledger 3% down, Audius 4.5% down, Polygon 4.5% up, although that's been sort of lagging for quite a while. Quant 3% down, Basic Attention Token 5% down, Gala 1%, VeChain 2%, and Internet Computer 4% down. So yeah, the small tokens I am sort of kind of looking at and putting on the potential sell list. Sort of looking at some of the market caps of these, you have to sort of think in the bull market, what are they going to do, basically. You can sort of look back at previous bull markets as well and sort of see the coins that dropped 80-90% and see how many of them actually did come back sort of in the next bull market, and it's not the best record, to be honest. So some of these tokens that sort of don't really have a huge amount of traction, you do have to sort of wonder if they're, in the next bull market going to sort of suddenly rip back and do a 10x or 20x, considering I do have sort of other potential bets that I think could do sort of 15 to 20x. So yeah, things like Gala, admittedly I'm sort of nearly 50% down, but it's £1,000, and sort of if I don't think Gala can sort of 15 to 20x, you have to be hoping for that as a sort of speculative altcoin, then maybe I should sort of take the hit. Obviously this is crypto, so there's capital gains tax loss harvesting potential. So if I sold this £944 down, I would be able to sort of claim back 20% of that. So there is that, and then sort of invest that into something else, and then if both investments say 20x, then I would be a lot better having switched, because I get that 20% tax rebate essentially. So yeah, when you're down, there can be a benefit to selling, if the thing that you're then buying does well, or even just keeps pace with the thing that you were holding. Obviously, the danger is that you sell sort of, and you're selling the bottom, it then rockets, and the thing that you buy doesn't do quite as well. But that is the risk. So yeah, VeChain was sort of a relatively small investment, about £1,000. It's now at £700, or well, about £950 actually in it. It's at £700, so not a lot of tax to reclaim, but I'm kind of thinking not a huge amount lost, considering sort of all the cryptos are down since I bought VeChain, or sort of the majority of them, of the altcoins certainly, are down. So yeah, considering sort of certainly VeChain and Gala, be nice to sort of, if I could, get close to £2,000 for the both. Internet computer, potentially. I'm not actually down £1,500 on that. I did already sell that. I just haven't really adjusted my average cost, but I think that's slightly down since I bought. Basic attention token, I've sort of shown my sort of bullish thesis on some of these coins a few weeks ago as a sort of suggestion, and the Brave browser is sort of growing, sort of 50 million users, but yeah, sort of if you look at the market cap, and I think even it's where it is now, it's sort of not growing at a rocketing pace. Don't know whether it would come the bull market, and would the token 15x 20x, I don't really know. It could do well, but if it isn't going to at least sort of 5 or 10x, then I mean, you might as well just have it in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or something. So yeah, kind of considering that on the sell pile as well. Polygon, that's obviously a much bigger market cap, much bigger potential, I guess. Partnerships with bigger players, but there is sort of quite a large red on it, and that would be sort of £240 tax rebate, and then again, can Polygon sort of 20x? It's a token from the past that has sort of done 100x. People were sort of buying it at 1 cent, and it sort of went to over $1, I believe. So yeah, there's considering that as well. Quant Network, sort of, you don't really hear anything about them, week to week, month to month. There's a sort of a trial with Bank of England and sort of potentially the ECB on central bank digital currencies, but even if they do get adopted, I don't know whether it was a partnership with like R3, Corda, and sort of various other companies, so the sort of the amount that Quant Network does get used, who knows whether that would 15, 20x. But yeah, and obviously Audius would be sort of the large one. That would be a very large tax rebate, but I'm kind of still bullish on Audius with the sort of TikTok potential partnership. It just seems like so many users that could potentially in a bull market be, reminded of Audius. But yeah, that's certainly on the consideration pile. But yeah, all the others are sort of still in gain, so there wouldn't be any real gain for selling those off and buying something else unless I want to harvest the gains next year. But yeah, that's my thoughts at the moment. Sort of considering selling off some of these and potentially putting them into something else, maybe sort of Solana or maybe the options. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe your thoughts on whether I should make some of these moves and what you're buying, and like and subscribe. See you soon.